Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Bakes here, and thank you for joining me for today's horror movie collection update video. This will be the winter-spring edition of the horror movie collection updates. It's been a little while since I did my last collection update video with my horror movies and horror collectibles and stuff. That's how I've been doing it recently, a 6-month cycle, but I think I'm going to have to trim it back to what I used to do, which was the 3-month cycle with just the turn of one season, because I've got so many horror movies to go through today. I've got like multiple high piles off to the side here. I've also got collectibles and shirts and things like that to go through towards the end. So I'm going to try and keep this intro short and sharp. Everyone knows how these videos work. I'll start off with the horror movies first. Like I said, a shit ton to go through, so I'm going to have to try and sort of rapid fire to hopefully keep it under an hour. I'm guessing that's how long the video will roughly go for. And then I'll get to collectibles and shirts and shit like that towards the end. But without delaying any longer, let's get straight into it, because I'm sure you guys, like I said, know the gist. I'm going to start with the pile that's just down here by my feet. So the first movie that I have here is one that I haven't watched yet, but it is called The Craving. I picked this one up because I used to have a multi-pack of horror movies that had like movies like, I'm blanking on the other ones in there, like Simon Says, Machine Head, things like that, and The Craving was one of them, but I have no idea where that multi-pack went, so I'm like, yep, perfect, I'm going to pick up The Craving, so that's the first one there. So happy I found a bootleg of this movie. Of course, like, you always want to try and find a legit release of a movie to support it better, but this one was a Netflix exclusive and I wanted it for my collection. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022. I know a lot of people hated this movie, but I mean, the story isn't great and things like that, but at least it was entertaining. So I've actually kind of got a soft spot for that one. Like, it's legit got a Chainsaw Massacre in it, which a lot of the other ones don't. I picked up Vampire in Brooklyn, Vampire in Brooklyn, or I wasn't sure if it was in or of, with Eddie Murphy, directed by Wes Craven, I'm pretty sure if I remember right, Angela Bassett. I've never actually seen this movie. I don't know, I'm just a little bit iffy if like how much humor and stuff is going to be in it, but I guess we'll see. So Vampire in Brooklyn. Another bootleg that I found, this is sort of the site that I've been going to for my bootlegs. I can't actually remember the full name of the site off the top of my head right now, but I picked up a movie called Death Spa. I remember my boy Mood616 talking about this one on his channel a handful of years ago now. I think it's been a while since he last brought it up, but it definitely piqued my interest, so I picked up Death Spa. Another bootleg that I found on there, and it's actually one I used to have a singular disc bootleg of, but now I have a proper bootleg release of Neon Maniacs. A movie I've seen before, cheesy fun, just really one to show off just practical creature designs and things like that. Pretty cool movie. One that I finally got around to watching just a couple of days ago. The movie's called Severance. It's basically about a group of office workers who go out for like a team bonding trip and whatever, and their trip sort of gets hijacked by these people who start picking them off, and it's a horror comedy. The comedy didn't really work for me. The story was okay, but yeah, sort of came and went. This one I honestly don't have too much to really speak on. I don't know much about this movie at all. I sort of just picked it up online with like a lot of other movies that I did know a little bit more about, but the title sort of jumped out at me, and it's called Broadcast Signal Intrusion. Literally know zero about this movie, so if you've checked it out and know a little bit about it, let me know in the comments. I picked up Heretic, which was a movie that I really enjoyed from last year, where it sort of lost me to stop it from cracking into my top 10, because it was right on the limit of reaching my top 10 of last year. Was just sort of the ending. I really enjoyed like the dialogue heavy first half of this movie. You know, you've got Hugh Grant's character, you know, sort of on the side of against religion, and you've got these two, I think they were Mormon girls, you know, on the side of religion, and they're doing this back and forth, and I like just really enjoyed the first half of this movie. I thought it was like incredible, and I'm like, this is definitely a banger. Second half kind of lost me, but I picked it up to give it a rewatch, and it's one that I'm hoping to rewatch again sooner rather than later. Picked up Return of the Living Dead 3. The only problem with this movie is I actually didn't know when I picked it up. It is I want to say German release, and I do have a region free player But the thing is, like, sometimes these German ones just do not work. Luckily, I picked it up cheap, so I'll have to give it a run and just see how it goes in there. Picking up another pile here. Okay, this is one that a subscriber, I'm blanking on their name, they're always telling me to watch this movie, and I still haven't checked it out. And it's not my fault, because I honestly keep forgetting that I have it. I keep just going, yes, when I find a copy and pick it up, I'll check it out. Little did I know I picked up a copy a while ago, and I just keep forgetting it's there. So here we have a movie called Dead Birds. From what I know, it is like a Western horror, which Westerns aren't always quite my thing. But I don't know, I think it's worthy checking out, since this person's been telling me for ages this movie's pretty underrated. So Dead Birds. Picked up a slasher, an old school slasher from 81. Pretty popular and well known, I guess, for a certain aspect. The movie is Final Exam. This one's probably most well known for a killer that has no connection to any of the characters or a motive, or it's just all deliberately random. This is a movie that I had seen once before, but long ago, so again had to pick up this bootleg of it and yeah, add it to the collection. I picked up the 78 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I wanted to pick this one up solely because for my 31 Days of Horror, I rewatched the original version of it, and I knew there were so many, I guess, re-adaptations of the story to come, and I realised I'd never actually seen the 70s version, so picked it up. I probably like them equal. There's elements of the first one that I enjoy more, and then there's elements of this one that I enjoy more, so they're probably pretty neck and neck for myself, but obviously an iconic and well-known sci-fi horror story. Catching up on the movies that I didn't see in cinemas earlier in the year, so I can put together my top 10 list. One I needed to catch up on was 28 Years Later. I mean, for what it was, I think I enjoyed it. I say I think because, you know, there's certain elements of it that just didn't really stick with me, but then there was also some stuff there that I was really digging, so I think I'll just have to sit with this one a little bit longer, but for what it was, I was entertained, and yeah. One I haven't got around to watching yet, a movie called Shiver. The reason why I keep putting this off, I mean, on paper, it's one that, like, I think I'd dig. It just sort of gives me Wolf Creek vibes. You know, it's starring John Jarrett and sort of sounds like he's playing a similar type of character to what he does in Wolf Creek. You've got Danielle Harris in it as well. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot here that sounds like it's going to work on paper, but I don't know, it's just not been one that has stayed on my shelf and, you know, drawn me in yet, so I'll get around to it. Again, I've got a fair stack of bootlegs in this overhaul here, but again, another bootleg because Australia just refuses to put out a nice release of this movie. We have Dario Argento's Opera, obviously very iconic, 1987, a Giallo, or, you know, I think this is sort of one of Argento's movies where, you know, people bounce between, is it a slasher or a Giallo? I'm sort of more in the camp of saying it's a Giallo, but yeah, Opera, obviously. Another one that was exclusive to Netflix, so again, if it's going to stay on Netflix, I'm going to find a way to find a bootleg. And again, this bootleg company, I'm blanking on their name at the moment, but if you ever see that little logo, grab it. Hush, yeah. I've seen this movie twice, just on Netflix, but again, I'll probably give it a rewatch now that I have a physical copy of it. About this deaf writer who is in like this cabin alone, and this guy starts sort of fucking with her, and it's sort of this cat and mouse home invasion sort of thing, and yeah, cool movie from what I remember. Here we have a movie called The Dead 2, India. So if you haven't seen The Dead, just a really underrated hidden gem zombie movie, and I actually didn't know there was a sequel. I'm guessing it's sort of the same gist pretty much, but the first one took place in Africa, so I'm guessing this is just pretty much the same thing, changing location, you know, a different person's perspective, so cool to check this one out. Hopefully it is just as cool and unique as the first. Here we have the original, The Thing, otherwise known as The Thing from Outer Space. A lot of people think that John Carpenter's The Thing was the first adaptation, but no, this is actually it. It is very different, obviously. It's more of just a creature looming in the dark, and it hasn't got the whole DNA, whatever you want to call it. I'm blanking on the proper term for it, but hasn't got that sort of thing going for it like Carpenter's. But for like a sci-fi creature feature, it's fine, it's watchable. And then something that is new to my collection, I picked it up a couple of days ago. Here I have the Children of the Corn trilogy. I know it's a whole franchise and there's plenty more movies, but this pack is the first 3 Children of the Corn films. Now, I've only ever actually seen the first one, and I actually already owned the first one, and I was looking to pick up, parts 2, 3, whatever price they were online. And I saw this set, and I'm like, okay, it's actually cheaper to just pick up this than pick up part 2 and 3 separately. So that's what I did, and I'll find a new home for my singular copy of the first movie. Alright, let's grab another pile. Whew, doing okay on time. Again, I'm trying not to drag talking about these movies and whatnot, but also trying to not leave you empty-handed. And yeah, as usual, trying to do it all in one take. Alright, we've got a stretch of a few more bootlegs coming up. As you've probably seen, this site, I just go bootleg crazy whenever something jumps out to me on there. Now, there's actually a funny story behind this one. Here I have David Cronenberg's Shivers, a movie that I'd never seen before, but I added it to my 31 Days of Horror watch list. It was actually my second last movie, I think, or third last movie, and I just kept, thinking I was all good, I have this on the shelf, and then I was getting up to the date, I'm like, oh fuck, I actually don't have this movie, and I already announced my lineup of films, so I had to jump online quickly, and again, the bootlegs came in clutched. Picked up Shivers. I think it's in the better half of Cronenberg's filmography. I've been one to say I'm not massive on Cronenberg just in general. I think Brandon's actually better than David, but yeah, this movie was fine. I think it's in the better half. Again, it was a first time watch, so we'll see how things go over time. Again, a bootleg, I picked up Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. I have seen bits of this movie, just not in full. I really, really wanted to jump on this one when I saw it on the site, because I'm massive on the first Sleepaway Camp, and I'm guessing it's probably not going to be as good just because I love that first movie so much, and it's sort of hard to capture that feeling again, but I'm hoping for something just sort of similar, and yeah, like I said, I've only seen scenes of it, so sort of hoping that one just sort of scratches the itch. One, when I was picking off things from the shelf, I kind of forgot that I even picked up, so again, hopefully this one doesn't sit on the shelf for too long, and then I go, oh fuck, I actually do have this movie. House 3. I am concerned with this movie. I love the first House film, not massive on the second at all. The second is quite a disappointing sequel, and from what I've heard, parts 3 and 4 are even worse than part 2, so I guess we'll see what I'm getting myself into when I finally get around to watching it. So, House 3. One that I watched for the first time the other day, and I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit let down by this movie. It's one that I think if I watched when it first came out, or when's this from, 2015, I feel like if it came out in the early 2000s when I was growing up, I would have ate this movie up. But the film's called Stung. It's basically about these giant wasps that invade this dinner party, but it's got a fusion of body horror, because when you get stung, you actually turn into a wasp, or a wasp hatches out of you. Yeah, it's sort of weird, but I really liked the concept, and again, the idea is something that normally I would eat up. I think it was just more so the execution of this one, but there's still some cool elements, the wasps and the body horror and everything I was fucking with. Here was a cool one that I finally got around to watching, and this has been one that I wanted to pick up for the longest time. A movie called The Battery. Who is this by? Jeremy Gardner. He's the one that always does collabs with, what's his name? It's gonna fucking annoy me, and someone's gonna be screaming it. Did Jimmy and Stiggs from this year, Christmas Bloody Christmas. But this one's basically about these two guys who obviously friends from playing baseball together. It's them during a zombie apocalypse, and it's very slow, and it's just them sort of going cross country and trying to survive and keep their humanity and things like that. And yeah, I was fucking with this one. I thought it was actually pretty cool. So again, catching up on ones from this year. This one's more of a thriller. But you know, as a horror fan, you know, the two genres normally, you know, have a nice overlap that you can get involved with. But this one's called Drop. Now, it is cheesy, and you know, there's some ridiculous things going on in this movie, but purely from an entertainment standpoint, I thought this one wasn't bad. You know, it's not gonna win any awards, or it's not like this mind-blowing film with like plenty of twists and turns and stuff. A lot of it is just like where you go, oh really? But again, from an entertainment standpoint, I was fucking with Drop. I thought it was okay. One I haven't got around to watching yet, so I'll keep this one short and sharp. Put out by Monster Entertainment Starve. Monster Entertainment normally put out like some cool indie stuff that is normally like packed with like a lot of gore and like some disturbing shit in there, so I'm excited to get around to Starve. I'm presuming like some cannibal stuff from what I'm seeing here on the back, but yeah, I'll fuck with that. Again, another one from this year that I missed out earlier on. Here we have Clown in a Cornfield. Now, I thought this movie was fine. I was actually really excited for this movie when I heard it was coming out. I'm not a reader, but I was aware of the books, and I'm like, okay, like, I know those books have a big following. I want to see a film adaptation. I sort of knew a little bit, like, of the gist of the story. And a lot of people were hyping up this movie, saying, like, you've got to check it out sooner than later. Like, it was actually a lot of fun. And don't get me wrong, there were some fun elements, but I found it to be pretty just run-of-the-mill standard sort of slasher stuff, which isn't always a problem. Like, some of the best slashers are just pretty standard run-of-the-mill, but I think this movie thought it had more going for it than what it actually did. But with that being said, the movie's fine, Clown in the Cornfield. When I was talking about Stung before, I kind of expected a movie a little bit more like this one, and to be fair, this movie's a lot more cheesy, and you know, I presume Stung is better suited for a lot more people than this one is, but this one's called Arachnid, from 2001, I think. Yeah, for the year I was born. It gives like Sci-Fi Channel vibes, but back when Sci-Fi Channel actually gave a fuck and wanted to put a budget into their films. This movie, it's like basically about these explorers going to this island, I think to try and find someone, like a rescue mission, and there's all... It's not even just spiders, like, there's all these creatures and creepy crawlies that are, like, big and massive and things like that. Yeah, I was fucking with this movie. I actually dug it. It was entertaining. Here's another one that I wanted to watch for the longest time, a film called Alice. Yeah, I remember a lot of people talking about this movie when it had first come out. The hype and talk about it has obviously died off over time. This movie's from, it says here 2011 or 2012, but I feel like maybe a little bit later, I don't know, but anyway, it also goes by the name Alice Kills, so if Alice doesn't scream out to you, it also goes by the name Alice Kills. I was a little bit let down by this movie, and I think that's my own fault. I think I was expecting something different, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't totally against what I thought it was going to be. It just didn't scratch the itch that I thought it was going to, so I think further down the track I'll give it a rewatch and see how I'm fucking with it then. Alright, keeping up the pace, let's go. Alright, another one from this year, and one that I haven't checked out yet, and I haven't heard really anyone talking about it, so maybe if it's good I'll get back to you and put it on your radar before the year's over. This one's called Dark Nuns from South Korea. I'd literally heard nothing about this movie. I just saw it pop up on JB's site online, and I'm like, yep, when that drops I'm going to hit stores and go and pick it up, because the plot for this movie just sounded really fucking cool. It says here on the back, like, exorcism, horror thriller, but South Korea, they're normally pretty good with what they're doing with their horror movies anyway, so yeah, I'm down to check this one out, and I'll get back to you, for sure. Here we have H.P. Lovecraft's Dagon. Dagon, however you want to pronounce it. This is one for the longest time. I just wanted to find another physical copy for. I used to see it all the time when I was growing up, and I'm like, yeah, eventually I'll get around to it. Kind of just forgot, and then it just went missing from shelves and things like that, so finally got my hands on a copy of Dagon. Lovecraft adaptations can be hit and miss for me. Like, I don't feel like I'm massive on cosmic horror, but some of them I fuck with, you know. Here's another one that was actually an upgraded bootleg, as in it's a bootleg, but yeah, I used to, again, just have a singular disc of it, and I'm like, no, 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 I need to upgrade it. And again, it was on that site, and here we have Crawl Space. Now, this is the one from 1972. It's a made-for-TV film. It's only a runtime of 75 minutes, so it flies by. And look at this. This is like the most, like, you almost want to say, like, Microsoft Paint cover ever. But I actually kind of fuck with it. It's kind of cool for what it is. Yeah, and I rewatched my bootleg disc. This is a way better looking version of it, so I'm happy I picked it up, and I actually have a nice cover and house for it, I guess, now. Another one that flew around the indie scenes for a while, and again, when I had the chance, I just wanted to pick it up, but I just sort of kept forgetting about it. And this one's called Pyewacket. Basically about like this girl who's obsessed with like black magic and the darker side of life, I guess, and she ends up making a wish that I guess I don't want to spoil anything, but most of us probably wouldn't make, and it sort of backfires on her. And yeah, I don't know. It didn't quite hit the mark that I was sort of hoping it would. But again, with that being said, the movie was fine and watchable. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just one of those ones where you put off a movie for so long and you build expectations for it and what you think it's going to be like in your head, and then it can be something different. And I think that's when a second time, third time watch is best, because then you just sort of snap into it, going, okay, it wasn't what I thought, but it's still a good enough movie, Picked up Sharknado. Yeah, I'm just going to fly by this one because most people know Sharknado. Cheesy, goofy, sci-fi channel fun. Remember when I was talking about Arachnid before, and I'm like, that one feels like sci-fi when they cared. This is sort of the era of sci-fi, just they know they're making bad movies, but people will watch them, so Sharknado. There we go. Another one from this year. Now, this is one I was so happy got a physical release, because this one came out in the States very early on in the year, and I don't think it even got a cinema run here in Australia, so I'm like, fuck, how am I going to check out this movie? Popped up on JB's site again, so I jumped at the chance to pick it up. It's called The Damned. A period piece demonic movie, I'm guessing, but yeah, very keen to check this one out. Haven't watched it yet. Picked up a re-release of The Ghost in the Darkness. Now again, this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for the longest time, and it's actually a funny story why this movie jumped up on my radar. For those who have seen this movie, you would know it's not a straightforward horror film. It's more of like a drama thriller with a bit of action adventure in there as well. But I actually remember hearing, so this movie's based off a true story. I remember listening to a podcast where they were telling the true story, and I'm like, fuck, that would actually make like a really, really cool film. Lo and behold, there was a movie about it. So we have Val Kilmer, Michael Douglas, yeah. Ghost in the Darkness, basically about like these railroad workers building a line in Africa and getting picked off by these lions, and the lions were like scared of nothing. They just kept fucking picking them off. So yeah, very cool. Again, catching up on ones I missed earlier in the theatre. Here we have a film called Presence. Over the past handful of years, we've had like a lot of horror movies from like unique perspectives. We've got Presence here, which is for those who don't know, shot from a ghost's point of view, and it's basically a haunted house film where you're watching it as the ghost, not as someone living in there. But we've also had Good Boy from this year, which is from a dog's point of view. We had In a Violent Nature last year from the slasher's point of view, or like somewhat. So yeah, a lot of point of view movies. This movie was alright. To be honest, going into it, expect more of like a family drama with like thriller elements rather than like jump scare horror and things like that, because I think a lot of people expected that with Presence. This is a movie that I was fucking with heavy. And can I please give a massive shout out to director Sean Byrne, because I honestly think he is like on a mad streak of like doing really consistent good Australian horror, and like no one really mentions his name. So we've got the film Dangerous Animals, basically about a serial killer played by Jake Courtney, who instead of the traditional picking off with like a knife or a machete or whatever a slasher wants to use, he captures people and feeds them to sharks. He runs like a shark tour, diving experience, and that's how he picks them off, and I found it to be really fucking entertaining. Now, like I said, Sean Byrne, if the name doesn't ring a bell, he's done one of my favourite all-time Australian horror films, The Loved Ones. He also did The Devil's Candy, which I haven't seen in a while, but I remember fucking with that movie. Really cool director. I think he honestly needs a bit more praise than what he has gotten. Alright, another pile. Let's keep it rolling. Okay. Oh, this was what I needed when I was talking about the battery before. I forgot the director's name. What's his name? Joe Begos. No, Joe Begos. Begos. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but that's who I was talking about before when I said Christmas, Bloody Christmas and Jimmy and Stiggs and stuff. I think this is his first proper full-length film. Does it say that anywhere? I don't know. But this is his movie, Almost Human. I finally got around to watching it. You know what? Like, it's not one of my favorites from him, but yeah, I was fucking with this movie. Like, cool sci-fi horror, like, got stuff to do with aliens and, you know, people coming back changed. And yeah, I was fucking with it. I thought it was kind of cool, so. Yep. One that I really want to get around to watching this one sooner rather than later because, again, I think this director's really fucking cool and I've just never seen this movie before. Excuse me. And that is Brian De Palma's Sisters. Again, bootleg. I fuck with De Palma, and it was when I was rewatching Kerry the other night, and a review will come up for Kerry soon on my channel, guys. I'm like, De Palma's so fucking good. Like, you know, his whole catalogue is like really fucking consistent, and Sisters has just sat on my shelf for ages, so I'm like, fuck, I need to pull the trigger and actually watching that. Again, when I was talking about For My 31 Days, I watched the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and kind of like what I said before, I know there's so many different adaptations, so picked up the 90s version, simply titled Body Snatchers. Again, there's elements of this one that I'm fucking with. I think it is the weakest of the three, but yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on here too, so yeah, Body Snatchers. Who was this one directed by? I remember I was sort of like, Abel Ferreira, yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that, I'm like, fuck, really? Here's another one that I brought him up before, but Moods616 on YouTube used to talk about a lot, and me being a fan of animal horror and things like that, I'm like, this seems like right up my alley. I really want to check this out. And again, just found a really rare copy of it. Day of the Animal, starring Leslie Nielsen, or I'm not sure if it's starring him. I got to get around to watching it. I just like the idea of like nature turning on man. It seems like every animal is like attacking in this one. You got like mountain lions and eagles, bobcats, bears, wolves. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna fuck with that. So, can you get around to that one? Here we have Return of the Living Dead 2. I knew what movie it was. That big pause was I wanted to double check if this one was German as well. It's not. So this one should work fine in my region free player. And again, the other one might, because as I said, it is a region free player, but for some reason, whatever region the German ones are, it gets real iffy, so I'm like, okay, but this one should be fine. Yeah, Return of the Living Dead Part 2. This is another like rare one that I just didn't expect to stumble upon, but as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yes, give me that right now. I'm massive on Bigfoot and Sasquatch horror movies and things like that, cryptid horror movies. Even just like learning about them in general, like the amount of podcasts and videos that I watch on cryptids and things like that, I'm fucking with it. But anyway, Creature from Black Lake, like I didn't even know this had a DVD option to pick up here in Australia, and yeah, found a copy online. Haven't got around to watching it again. I think this back half of the year I've just been so busy trying to catch up on 2025 watches, and I also had the 31 Days of Horror, which I could have sort of fused these in with, but yeah, kind of blanked. Got a couple of bootlegs coming up here. Another one here is The Pit. Basically about like this kid. He is a kid, but like fuck it. Like I think the actor playing him is like low key fucking 15 or 16 or something like that. And he's just a fucking weirdo. Like he's trying to get in like his babysitter's pants, and he's perving all the time and shit like that. But anyway, he walks around with this teddy, and he like tricks people into coming to visit this pit, and he throws them in, and they get fed to these creatures living in there. This movie's like fun in all like the right places. I think it overstays its welcome and goes on a little bit too long, but otherwise, like I think this one's a lot of fun. So The Pit. Here's one that I honestly can't remember if I've rewatched this one since picking it up. I'm kind of blanking on it a little bit, but the movie's Curtains. I think it has a really cool fucking cover, again, bootleg and everything, but Curtains. I really actually like the mask in this one. It's like the killers are known as like the Hag. That's her there, but yeah, fucking with this one. Curtains. I think I did give it a rewatch, honestly, but I'm just, yeah. It must have been early on in picking it up, and again, this is an update over 6 months, so it's probably ages ago I watched it. Here's one that I did pick up for my 31 days, because I didn't have it, and it's been ages since I watched something Hammer Horror, and this was new to me, and I thought it was pretty cool. So here we have Curse of the Werewolf. Again, if you want to know my complete thoughts on this one, go to my review for the 31 days. There's a few movies here, like I said, that would have been reviewed on my channel, so yeah, check them out. Here we have classic Phantom of the Opera. The only annoying thing about this one is I actually wanted the OOG Phantom of the Opera. A lot of people think, again, that this one's the original, but I was looking for the one with, who is it? Is it, fuck, why am I blanking on his name? Lon Chaney, yeah, that's right. I was looking for that version of it, but, yeah, I got this one instead, so get around to watching it. A classic, House on Haunted Hill, just never owned it, so needed to pick it up. Again, every man and their dog probably knows this movie, so I won't harp on it. And again, a fun bootleg here. Never seen this movie before, I still got to get around to watching it, but the cover has always just won me over, and the movie is called Boneyard. I actually read the back of it the other day, because this was one I was thinking about watching the other night. I just presumed it was about like a giant zombie monstrous poodle, but it's actually got like talking about zombie children, and sort of got like this horde situation, it sounds like, going on. So yeah, I'm down to watch Boneyard when I find the time. Grabbing another pile. Actually going okay on time. Again, I'm rapid firing, and you guys are probably annoyed I'm not going into more depth with these movies, but we're at half an hour at the moment, just over. Pretty fucking good, so yeah. Maybe I do actually have a bit more time to talk about them. But anyway, another bootleg, and again, I talked about this movie before, and how I had to pick up the sequel because I love the first one so much. Sleepaway Camp. Yes, I fucking love this movie. Ever since the first time I watched it, which was, years ago now, like, this one just won me the fuck over. I think it is honestly one of my favourite slashers of all time. Like, I hold it above so many other greats that, I still have a love for, but Sleepaway Camp, like, I fuck with this movie heavy. And, just never had a edition of it in my collection. Again, Australia are pretty stingy with legit releases, so jumped on this one, and like I said, when I had the chance, I grabbed Sleepaway Camp 2, which I showed up earlier. This is another one that I've always just wanted in my collection for the longest time, just to check out this movie. And I'd always seen it in parts and whatever, but it was nice to finally watch it in full. Another one that I covered for the 31 days. Here we have Deep Red. Now, this is a legit release, put out by Umbrella. Umbrella used to fuck heavy with putting out, like, really cool editions of, like, old Jellos and things like that. Dario Argento, probably one of his most popular films, like, alongside, again, Opera and Suspiria and things like that. The more I think back on this movie, the more I liked it. If you go back and watch my review that I did for the 31 days, I was a little iffy on it, but, like, speaking more so positive. But looking back, I'm like, fuck this movie. It was really fucking cool. So, Deep Red. I actually don't want to say how much money I spent just to get that fucking DVD. Alright, here we have Final Destination Bloodlines. Again, I missed this one in cinema, and I kind of wish, out of the earlier stuff in the year that I didn't get a chance to watch in cinemas, I kind of wish I'd watched this one, because just the opening premonition and, a lot of the kills and everything, I'm just like, fuck, that would have fucked heavy on the big screen. So, I'm kind of bummed I didn't see this one in cinemas, but with that being said, a really cool return. There was a lot of fun to the franchise, even though part 5 is, like, really fucking good and underrated. I was fucking with Bloodlines heavy, and it's just really bittersweet to see Tony Todd, reprise his role in this movie. Obviously sweet, because we fucking love Tony Todd as horror fans and stuff, but you can tell he was, like, really sick in this movie. So skinny and thin, but doesn't phone in the performance either, like, hanging on every word when he's doing that monologue and things like that. So very cool. And another thing about this movie, like, it just goes to show, like, who grew up with franchises like this and are in horror communities. I remember, like, I was speaking to a group of friends who had seen this movie and I hadn't, and I was talking about the earlier entries in the franchise, and they didn't even know. They thought this was the first Final Destination. They didn't even know it was a franchise before, and I'm like, fuck, that is so cringe. Anyway, a movie here called Robin. Now, this is one I had an eye out for because director and writer Lawrence Fowler. I actually spoke to him one day online when I did my I did a movie marathon where I watched the Jack in the Box trilogy with one of my mates. It was like a movie night where we watched the three films in the Jack in the Box series, and we made a vlog sort of style video out of it. And he actually replied in the comments, and he was actually talking about this movie coming up because in the comments I asked him, is there going to be a fourth Jack in the Box? And he goes, no, I'm working on this movie called Robin, and he gave me a rough like time date on like when to expect it, and yeah, it hit shelves, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna pick it up because I just, even though he's like a not a household name when it comes to directors and stuff, it is just like really cool to like have someone in that sort of lifestyle and experience and everything. Like, he really didn't need to, but he like watched my video and he reached out, and I was like, fuck yeah. So yeah, watched his movie. Here we have one called Blood-Sucking Bastards. Not one I've got around to yet. I'm presuming, just with that title, some things that I'm gathering there is horror comedy, vampires, and workplace sort of thing. So, yeah, Blood-Sucking Bastards. I'll get around to it. I have heard it brought up before, but yeah, I haven't seen it, so I will. Another bootleg, and a movie that I've heard isn't great, but just the cover and the charm of like something Italian and from this time period as well, I'm like, yes, take my money. Here we have Island of the Fishmen with like this really cool like teal spine and back there. Yeah, is it Italian American co-production? No. It says it's otherwise known as Screamers and things like that. I don't know, just like the cover I've always fucked with. You've got like these little fishmen on the back that look nothing like what they do on the cover. But, that's the charm of it. Very keen to check this one out. And then one that I thought I had heard something about it, but it must have been another movie. So when I put this on, I was a bit surprised that, it wasn't what I thought it was, but that's okay. A movie called Speak No Evil. We've obviously had another movie recently called Speak No Evil, and then that one got an American remake. But this one's totally unrelated, just same title. It was okay. It was fine. I honestly didn't love it, but it was okay. Alright, just slide in these next pile a little bit closer. That's me leaning back trying to reach them. Alright, what have we got here? So again, another one from this year that I missed in cinemas. Directed by Osgood Perkins, Stephen King adaptation. Here we have The Monkey. Now, Osgood Perkins, like, it just fucking blows my mind that he's doing like 2 movies a year pretty much at this rate. I know a lot of people really fucked with this movie. I thought it was okay. Excuse me. Losing my voice. Especially how fast I'm speaking and trying to get through it. My throat's going so dry. But I heard someone say this the other day, and I'm like, yes, it actually kind of is. It's like a fusion between Goosebumps and Final Destination. I'm like, yeah, fuck, it is pretty close. It's about like these 2 brothers who found this like toy monkey where like if you tune its fucking dial, it will like kill someone randomly. Yeah, you know what? Like, it was fun. It was entertaining, but yeah, it wasn't a top contender for the year like it was for a lot of people. At least for myself, it wasn't. Again, another one from this year, Until Dawn. I was a fan of the game, and I was like actually really keen to see what they were going to do with this movie. Even before its release, a lot of people sort of shunned it, going, well, it's not actually following the plot for the game. But if you've ever played the game, it's a choose your own adventure, so there's not really a specific, like, there's blueprints to a story, but like, what route do you take? Someone's going to watch the movie and be like, that's not what happened in the game. It's, yeah, because it has different endings when you play the game. I actually kind of liked the idea that they went with this one. It's kind of like a almost like, imagine like Happy Death Day and mix that with Cabin in the Woods. That's kind of like what the element for this movie was. The more that time has passed with this one, it's not as high as what it was when I first watched it, but it's entertaining, it's fine. Until Dawn. Got around to another Dario Argento film that, again, I didn't know how to release here in Australia, and I actually don't know who put this out. But Mother of Tears. I actually haven't heard the greatest things about this one. I think it's sort of one that sits about mid in Argento's filmography, but yeah, just I like Argento, so I was going to pick up Mother of Tears, of course. Here we have one called Frogs. A little bit of eco horror, it's nothing to write home about, but it's fine. Not really in the camp of ones that I'm sure as I watched as a kid I would have liked more. This movie's honestly a little bit boring and slow, but yeah, Frogs, I mean, it's fine. One that I think I've seen the sequel to this movie and I didn't know that I had, but anyway, the movie's Wolf Cop. I sort of blanked there on what I was trying to say. I think I've seen the sequel, which is called Another Wolf Cop. So I was watching this movie, have I seen this one? But elements seem familiar. It is what it is. It's a police officer who turns into a werewolf and is fighting crime as a wolf. You know what? The movie's fine. It's fun. Again, some of these movies that I have watched, you got to bear with me because I watched them. Again, this is an update over 6 months. I could have watched them in the first week of this 6-month cycle, and I'm just blanking on them. The Frighteners is the next one. Again, a movie that I'd never seen. It's sort of known as a sort of cheesy fun classic of the 90s. And yeah, I just had never got around to watching this movie. It was very much not what I expected, but again, I feel if I had nostalgia with this movie, it would have hit me a little bit different, but I still thought it was fun. It was cool. Here's one that I brought up on the 22 Shots podcast a while ago. I think it would have been when they were doing a retro top 10 year. But the movie's called The Paperboy. Now, these type of movies I just kind of fuck with. So this movie is basically about this, paperboy. He would be in his, it says 12-year-old, 12-year-old boy, running paper in the neighborhood and shit like that. And again, he's just a fucking creep, he's a perv, he's in love with all the older ladies in the neighborhood, and this movie's just so cheesy, but if it hits the right audience, you're gonna fucking love it, and it sounded up my alley. I was so happy to check this one out. I had a blast with Paperboy. One from last year, I want to say, that again was really close to making my top 10, but just fell short. And again, we're talking about Osgood Perkins here. And here we have Longlegs. One thing that really stood out with me in this movie that I don't feel a lot of people praised her enough. Micah Monroe's as Micah Monroe as our lead in this movie. I thought she was fucking incredible. Now I heard a lot of people say she was good, but that was my favorite female performance of last year. Just off the top of my head, she was really fucking great. Story-wise, this movie had me going on and off. I think I sort of liked the aesthetic and the visuals and everything sort of more than the story, but I'd only seen it the once in cinemas, so picked it up again, give it a rewatch, because again, I think it is just one of those films where the more you watch it, the more it'll eventually click over time. So Longlegs. Here we have one called Bloodfest. Now this is one that I've seen online a few times, and I eventually pulled the trigger because I kept thinking I had this movie. Now the movie that I kept getting it confused with was, there it is on the shelf over there, Hellfest. So I kept thinking no, I have this movie, I'm not gonna get it. And then I'd go to my shelf and put everything that I bought on it, and I'm oh fuck, it was Hellfest. And I kept doing that over and over and over. Finally picked up Bloodfest, haven't watched it yet, but I will. And now I can, get it in my head that I do have it. Another one I missed in cinemas from earlier this year, and I actually really fucked with this movie. I thought it was really cool. Here we have Companion. I don't know, I was sort of getting a little... I'm going to speak spoilers here, so just in case you haven't heard this movie since it's new, but, I'm sort of at this point where I'm okay, do we need any more evil AI, evil robot movies? It just seems like we're getting 3 or 4 or 5 of them a year. And with this one being mainstream, I'm okay, is it going to be Megan or something like that? I was fucking with this movie heavy. I thought it was so fucking cool, a lot of fun. I was digging it. I really fuck with Sophie Thatcher so much at the moment, and I think Jack Quaid is a really cool guy as well. He plays a dick in this movie, but I thought this movie was so cool. Alright, getting to sort of the final stack here. Again, I'm actually running way better on time than what I thought, but again, it's probably annoying for you just because you talk about the movie a little bit more. Or not. I don't know. If I was you guys, I'd probably just watch it on ×2 speed, to be honest. But here we have one from Shudder called Stop Motion. This was from last year or maybe the year before. Can't find the date on the back, but anyway. I remember being like surprised by this one. Like from the trailers and everything, I'm like, okay, this seems like really fucking cool. It's like a mind bendy one like this. You're gonna have to like bear with me because I'm trying to remember here. It's like this stop motion artist who's like animating. Her mum was sort of like her inspiration, but also like kind of abusive and mean to her and stuff. And she passes, and then her brain's starting to break down. And yeah, it's more psychological than what sort of I expected it to be. But yeah, happy to pick it up and give it a rewatch for sure. As an Australian, I'm a little bit ashamed to say that I'd never seen this movie before. But again, it got brought up on the 22 Shots podcast in a retrospect year, top 10 episode, and I'm like, fuck, like, I didn't know people fucked with this movie so heavy. It's known as, like, that good of a great... I always knew it was known as a good movie, but, like, they were, like, praising this one, so I'm like, fuck, I need to pick it up. Picnic at Hanging Rock. Again, just being Australian and, you know, this movie being from, what year? 75, like... Yeah, this movie has been spoken about a lot, like, in this country and just, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, I just never knew, like, people fucked with this one, like, that heavy. I'm like, okay, I've got to actually watch this one, so... Picnic at Hanging Rock. Fucking hell. Alright. Another one, like Starve, put out by Monster Entertainment. And again, I'm expecting, like, some disturbing, gory shit going on here. Here we have one called Excess Flesh. Just from, like, a lot of the imagery and shit here on the back. Some of it I'm not even sure if I can show. I just feel like I'm going to fuck with this one heavy. It just seems, like, really nasty, so really keen to check that one out. Here's one that came out at JB just the other day. And I'm really hoping... Who put this out? Shout Studio. I hope this company keeps putting out really cool physical releases, because they put out this and Dog Soldiers. The only reason I didn't pick up Dog Soldiers, I'm still thinking I might. I just already own that movie, so I might like rewatch it, see how I'm fucking with the quality and visuals of that one, and then if I feel like I need to upgrade it, I will. But they also put out Fade to Black. Now this is one when I first got into horror movies, like, and you know, that's forever ago now, like as a fucking kid. I remember this one used to get spoken about on like YouTube channels and all that a lot. Hadn't heard anyone talk about it for ages. I honestly kind of forgot about this movie, but when I saw it was getting a physical release, I'm like, bang, 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 take my fucking card. So, yeah. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm trying to get through this video fast. I feel like I'm just saying some real fucking out-of-pocket shit, getting real amped up. Sharknado 2. Just gonna leave it there. Picked it up because it was there with Sharknado 1. This is a movie that I honestly do not know too much about. I'm not sure if it's a vampire movie or it seems to be like fucking with like cults and hell from what I see here on the back. But honestly don't know too much about this movie. It's called, hopefully I don't even butcher the name, Faust. It is one that I've heard get brought up before. I just don't know how to say the movie and honestly don't know too much about it. So we'll eventually get around to watching that one as well. Going to keep this one short and sharp because I spoke about this one on a live the other day and we all had a good long talk about it. Tammy and the T-Rex, again, another bootleg, but yeah, if you know this movie, you can't, yeah, fucking fun time. And last two movies that we have here, and then we've got a few shows as well that I kind of forgot about. This is one that I was really looking forward to seeing in cinemas. Now, a lot of them I sort of skipped out on because I just knew I had more time in the year and they would get physical releases and things like that. This is one I actually did want to watch in cinemas, but I was away at the time it came out and just nothing really lined up to watch it there. But this one's called Death of a Unicorn. Now, this one I had like really, really high hopes for, and I guess like I was really like invested in checking this one out. Again, I'm a big fan of like cryptids and like mythical creatures and things like that, and unicorns, they have not had their fair run in horror, to be fair. So I'm like, yes, give me this. It's got Jenna Ortega, Paul Rudd. I think Will Poulter's like a really underrated actor as well, so to see him in this one, I'm like, yep, sounds really fucking cool. The trailer, I thought the trailer fucking rocked. This movie wasn't terrible, but yeah, just missed a mark that like I was really hoping it would hit. the movie's okay. Like, yeah, it's my own fault for being so hyped for it. And funny that this one's actually the last movie here, because this is the latest thing that I picked up. It literally came in the mail maybe like 2 days ago. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Very early horror here. Like, what year is this from? Like 1920 something, I want to say. To be honest, I actually don't know too much about this movie. For a movie this old and beloved and everything, I probably should know a little bit more about it, but don't hate on me. I just don't. So there we go. That's all the movies. Now I've got 2 TV shows I'm going to go through here. Again, try and make it quick. I picked up the complete series of Ash vs. the Evil Dead. So this is, from what I know, all 3 seasons. I believe there was 3 seasons of the show. Season 1, 2, and 3. There you go. So we'll get around to watching this. From everyone that's spoken about it, they said it is good and they recommend it and things like that. So if you know how I am with TV shows, I can like spit out 20 movies a fucking day if I could. TV shows, I don't know what it is. Like, I just feel like I need to plan like a month ahead to get around to them. So I eventually will, but yeah, got to find the time. This is one I did get around to, and I think it's because, you know, it is less commitment. It is 1 season, and it's episodic, as in it's an anthology series. So here we have the Creep Tapes, which is like a spin-off of the 2 Netflix Creep movies. So I mean, the episodes were like, some of them were better than others, obviously. I think like it was like the closing handful of episodes where I'm like, okay, this is fucking cool. But yeah, I think like this one was easier to get through because I spaced out the episodes a little bit more. Like, this isn't really one I binged, because I just sort of, the whole like, you know, they all sort of, even though they tell different stories, you know, following different characters and things like that, you know, the whole thing is somewhat similar. So spacing out the episodes and, you know, not needing to keep up with like a consistent story overlapping between episodes. I hope you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I found that one a little bit more manageable to use my time with. Alright. Okay, so I've got Funko Pops and some shirts. I'll go through the shirts first. So one of them is actually this one I'm wearing here right now. It's a, like, I don't know what you call that, like Technicolor, not really Technicolor, like neon fucking bright, I don't know what you call it, Universal Monsters shirt. My brain's fried. I've been sitting here for fucking 50 minutes. Leave me alone. Handful of other shirts here. I piled these up the other day preparing for this video, so I kind of forget which one's which. Alright, so we've got a Creature from the Black Lagoon. That famous, like, coming back from war picture. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's like him kissing a chick in a scuba suit. I thought that was pretty fucking cool, so I grabbed that. Creature from Black Lagoon, I've always fucked with him heavy when it comes to the Universal Monsters. Him and Frankenstein are like my top 2 easy. Oh yeah, I grinded the fuck out of this shirt when I first got it. I think it's so funny. Nosferatu. So it's got, so obviously Nosferatu, Ratatouille. And it's kind of funny that the 2 movies kind of have something in common. You know, you've got Remy the rat sitting on the chef's head controlling him, and then in Nosferatu you've got Count Orlok controlling, I forget the chick's name, but yeah, Nosferatu. I fucked with that shirt so heavy. Yeah, this one. So I've said this on my channel before, I'm massive on Scooby-Doo, both the animated show and the movies. Saw this online, I'm like, gimme, gimme, gimme. A Spooky Island like shirt. I really like how it's designed to kind of look like, you know, you visited Spooky Island and this is like this is what I got from my holiday, guys. And yeah, fuck with it. Amusement park. It's got the date of the movie, 2002. Yeah, really cool. And when I saw this shirt, I'm like, fuck, I need to visit. So I'm from Victoria, the state in Australia. In Queensland, we have Movie World, where we have the Scooby-Doo coaster, and it's like the roller coaster from the first movie. I'm like, when I got that shirt, I'm like, yeah, I need to go back up there and ride those rides again. Alright, I'll finish off with some Funko Pops. Hopefully can get it done before the hour mark. Rapid fire. Speaking of Nosferatu, we got Count Orlok from Robert Edgar's version of Nosferatu. So very cool. Again, I'm just going to try and keep this quick. I got Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. Nice. I got Ash from the Evil Dead, or specifically Army of Darkness. Now there was also an Evil Ash, which oh, there you go, it's got a picture of him on the back. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to get that one too, but I'm like, oh, I'll just get him next time returned. And yeah, you never know when that next time's gonna be, because yeah, he wasn't there. I'm like, damn. Now this is one I'm like, okay, this one I'm gonna grab and not wait for next time, because I'd never actually seen it before, and I'm like, it was the only one of its, like sometimes, you know, they double up, there's like 2 or 3 of them sitting there. I'm like, nah, I need this one now. The Bride in Black from Insidious, and I know it's a rare one because normally they put the whole line on the back. No, missing. So I've got the red-faced demon, which is actually coming up. I'll show that one off next. Again, fucking didn't pull the trigger on this motherfucker, and yeah, gone. So let me grab that one. Here we have the red-faced demon from Insidious. Very cool. Very creepy from the first Insidious film. I'm pretty sure the one that I'm missing is from Insidious Part 3. Here we have Megan from, obviously, the movie Megan. There was 2 versions in store that I could pick up. It was like this one, and then the one with like her insides showing, like her face taken off and stuff. And I don't know, I wasn't fucking with that one heavy, so I just grabbed this one. Here we got a new edition of Billy the Puppet from Saw. Now I don't know what this means, so like all of them are, if you have seen Funko Pops, you'll most likely see that it's like pop movies. I don't know what a fucking Pop Plus is, so don't ask me, but this one's like Pop Plus. I don't know what that means, guys. If you know, let me know, but that's what I got. Now these last 2, these were the 2 coolest Funko Pops, so I'm happy I coincidentally kind of left them last. So the first one here is Glenn from the Chucky franchise. Now, I hate Seed of Chucky. The Child's Play franchise is one of my all-time favourite franchises, but I hate Seed of Chucky. And one of my least favourite things about that movie is fucking Glenn. Like, he's so annoying. He's never really appealed to me at all. But just something about him getting his own Funko Pop that I just never expected to ever see a Glenn Funko Pop. Ever. Just knowing that he got one and I saw it on shelves, I'm like, I need it. Like, there's something so weird. Like, a character that's never appealed to me. I just never knew he was going to get a Funko Pop. And I'm like, yep, give it to me right now. And then the last one, and sort of the same thing goes. I'm like, no way they made a Funko Pop of this character. And this is actually a character I fuck with. Here we have the little pale girl from Terrifier 2. Yeah, this one stood out to me because I'm like, again, like, who would have thought they would make a character so sort of niche, you know? I'm pretty sure she only popped up in Terrifier 2, or she might have been in a scene in Terrifier 3, something like that. I don't know. But there's so many Art the Clown Funko Pops. Like, look how many you can fucking get in stores. I've got one of them, but I picked it up in my last cycle. I don't know where he's sitting. And, you know, like I said, there's so many other ones where I'm like, I could have bought them, but I don't need more than one art. But having the little pale girl, which is obviously like a exclusive, I guess, I'm like, yes, I fuck with that heavy. So, grab that one. Alright. I'm looking around, making sure I didn't forget anything. That is it for this collection update for everything that I picked up over winter and spring, so the past 6 months. Thank you for joining me. Like I've said earlier in the update, is sort of in the intro, I think I'm going to need to go back to doing 3 months because these videos are going like way too fucking long. If you are someone who is interested in my music portion of my collection updates, that will be coming out either like, I don't know, in the next couple of days or a week or something like that when I have time to record it. It will be a bit bigger than my last 6 month cycle. I've actually picked up a fucking fair share of albums and music over these past 6 months, so yeah, keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, I don't want this intro to go any longer, else we really are going to tick over. So thank you for joining me, guys. Hopefully you guys sat through it alright. As I said, probably watch it on ×2 speed. And I'll see you for another video soon, guys. Peace.